I'm curious. I'm going to look it up. Um, Disintegrate audibly when heated. So you're going to heat something and it's going to basically explode. Oh, maybe that's the adjective decrepit comes from. Yeah. If the asset has 10-year tax life and I spend $10 million on it to put in place, every year I'm going to write off $1 million as long as it's in my books. But if I sell it at the end of year five at salvage value, at the end of year five, it's going to have a book value of five. The second one that I'm not going to use in our uh, template, but we could if you want to. It's called depletion method. This depletion or usage method. An asset has a certain tax life based on how it is used. Every year depreciate the percentage of usage. Suppose you have a truck, and as far as IRS is concerned, it has a tax life of 100,000 miles. For some reason, you use that truck for 50,000 miles this year, then you're going to write off 50% of the purchase value as depreciation. Next year you used it for another 50%, but after that, you can't write off anything, even if it's still in use. This is also rather useful for depreciating natural resources. Let's say you bought a natural gas field and it has proven reserves of 1 billion BTUs. It's a unit for measuring the capacity of natural gas. BTU is short for British thermal units. So, what is the capacity to generate heat? And this year you extracted only, you know, 100 million BTUs. You're going to basically use 10% of the capacity. You're going to write off only 10% of the value. Or because of the pricing issues, you decided not to use it at all, not to extract anything. If the prices are too low, you're not required to extract anything. Well, that year, you're not going to be able to write off anything if you use that method. We're going to be spending more time on the so-called modified accelerated cost recovery system, affectionately known as MAKERS. IRS tells you the tax life, and the depreciation schedule. And oddly, if IRS tells you that this asset is subject to 5 years makers, you actually write the whole thing off in 6 years. Don't ask me. Remember, this is accounting and IRS. You don't ask sensible questions sometimes, especially with this sort of accounting. But IRS tells us what that schedule is. For example, for 3 years makers, the first year you can write off 1/3. The second year you write off 45 something. Then the last 2 years you write off last. So let's first get a table together before we build our templates for the makers. So I'm gonna have years, tax life, 1, 2. I'm gonna do this up to 21. The longest I'm gonna consider is 20 years. Tax life could be 3 years, 5 years, 7, 10, 15, and 20. And for each of those, IRS tells me what the percentages are. Let's make these percent. I happen to have that table. Let me see. Remember, I taught this class twice yesterday, so I already have this. Come on. $33.3, 44.5, 14.8, and 7.4. Let's make sure they add up to 1 for the 5 years. 20, 11.5. For example, if you look at it, the first year is same as straight line depreciation. If we have chosen straight line, for this one, we would have written off exactly 20% the first year. But the second year depreciation is much higher. So the first 2 years, I'm going to write off 52%. With makers, with straight line, I would have written off only 40. That's where the name accelerated cost recovery comes, which means I'm getting my tax benefits faster, you know, given the time value of the money, that means something. The first 3 years, I'm writing off 71.2%, but I would have written off only 60 on the straight line. Let's enter these 14.3. Ten, 18, 14.4, 11.5, 2. This the first year depreciation being the same doesn't apply after 10 years. Oops. 776962. Let's find mine all the way up till 15. And 3872. 6762. Okay, I think there's a little mistake in some of them. It's probably because of rounding off. So four of these things should be 4.6. So I'm going to, all right.